Hello everyone. Let's start with the recursion. So what is recursion? Recursion is a self-repetition or self-reproduction or self-reference of something. So when we are talking with respect to our algorithms or programming languages, when we write a function calling itself or returning itself is also called as a recursion here. And every non-recursive algorithm can be written as a recursive algorithm. So we'll have two types of algorithm. Either the algorithm is recursive or non-recursive. But you can write a non-recursive algorithm as a recursive, also recursive algorithm as a non-recursive algorithm. And there are typical multiple ways for writing any recursive algorithm while solving a problem. So just to validate our sentences, let's start taking some examples and let's try to understand recursion through examples. Okay. So now our first example is sum of first n numbers. So how will you sum first n numbers? So like let's say you have to sum n numbers, which is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus so on till n numbers. So now you have to sum first n numbers, and how will you sum? So if you just see with respect to algorithms, if n is very small, you can just go on adding, that is 1. Let's say n is equal to 4. So I can just make it 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 and I can sum them just in my mind. Because what I am doing in this case is I am incrementing that value every time. I is like, let's say initially 1, then 1 plus 2 I have taken, then 2 plus 3. So this could be solved using loops, right? So I can use a loop, let's say for loop or while loop. And what I can do is I'll just write for and I, which is again 1 to n. And what I have to do, let's say I'll define final sum as a variable sum, which is equal to 0. And now I'll write inside for loop as sum plus equal to I. So every time this loop will run and that value will be added to the sum, and I will be incremented for every iteration of loop. In case of while loop, I'll just make it while the condition I should take a variable first I equal to 1 here, and while I is less than or equal to n, I will be making again same thing, sum equal to 0 initially, and then I will be summing here. So this is one method of solving using loops. So let's go further. Another method, what I can do is I can just use a function. I'll define a function. So let's say I'll define a function name called as sum, and inside that sum let's say I have to create again like how we can sum, and I'll just give you n. So these many numbers I have to sum. So again this n value is there, so I can just pull this section which is I have written in loop code, and I'll just put it inside this define sum, and in the end I will just return the sum. So this is also one method which will give me again sum of first n natural numbers, but this is again not a recursion. But this is again using function, but this is, see, function is okay. Here could be a confusion, so I'll just make n sum as a function name, so that sum is a variable which we have used here and we are returning that variable, not a function. So now I'll again make define n sum as a function which will have again n into its this one, and you will write some conditions here, a base condition or base case, we say base case. That condition we also called as a base case, and then we will write a recursive code here. So what exactly we have to do here is, if it is not in a base case, return n plus sum of n minus 1. So what it will do, again it will call, sorry, not sum of n, sum of n minus 1. So it will be adding that number n with again a function it is calling, same function, and it will call itself. So this is forming a recursion. So now how the recursion works, we will see that in next class. So for understanding, I have just given you 3 different ways of writing one code, but now like how the recursion work exactly, because if you just see the loop case, it is just go on adding 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus so until n, and then it will just give you the final answer. In case of this case also, just this is a function, but the working is same exactly what we have done in loop, or what we have discussed in case of loop, but it is just giving you once it is summing, it will just returning the final answer. But in this case, it is returning the function, and how it works we will just see in the next class. We'll stop here.